Welcome to AI on AI, where we unpack how intelligence gets off the screen and into the world. Today, we're diving deep into physical AI agents and the PAT-RAG pattern that connects embodied perception to industry LLMs for real-time decisions and reporting.
Thanks for having me. Coming from the boardroom perspective, I'll say it plainly. Vertical intelligence won the software decade, but embodied intelligence will win the operations decade. Physical AI agents are the bridge between smart plans and moved atoms.
From the system side, I see physical AI agents as a three-block stack: perception, cognition, actuation, stitched by precise timing and safety constraints because the real world pushes back with friction, inertia, and deadlines.
And I'll add the LLM angle. When you embed a specialized language model inside the cognitive block and couple it to physical context via FRAG, you don't just chat with a robot. You enable intent translation, plan validation, and post-action explanation in the operator's domain language.
I'll keep us honest on safety and governance. Moving from bits to atoms means new hazards, so we need runtime monitors, provable constraints, and auditable memory. Otherwise, we're just automating risk.
Logistics practitioner here. The moment the lift truck meets the aisle, all the whiteboard elegance evaporates. If your agent can't handle a torn barcode or a blocked bay with grace, it's not production ready.
Let's anchor on definitions. What really differentiates a vertical AI agent from a physical AI agent in practice?
A vertical AI agent reasons within domain data, ERP records, procedures, regulatory docs, while a physical AI agent grounds that reasoning in sensor streams and can execute motor plans. The PRAG pattern connects them, so the physical agent retrieves situational knowledge, and the domain LLM contextualizes outcomes for humans.
Concretely, the physical agent fuses LiDAR or camera frames, runs a factor graph or filter-based state estimator for SE3 pose, feeds learned perception heads, segmentation, key points. Then the cognitive block composes a hierarchical plan: task graph at the LLM layer, motion graph at the planner, trajectory solved by an optimizer, executed by controllers respecting torque and safety limits.
Strategically, think of it as adding a body and nervous system to a domain brain. Businesses don't buy AI, they buy outcomes. Reduced cycle time, fewer safety incidents, higher yield. Embodiment is the missing link.
Let's get technical. Walk us through a robust perception-to-action chain on, say, a warehouse replenishment agent. Sure, stepwise. 1. Multi-sensor sync, time-aligned camera, depth and IMU on device. 2. State estimation, visual inertial odometry with an error state Kalman or a factor graph. 3. Mapping, dense occupancy or TSDF map for local planning, plus a topological graph of aisles. 4. Detection, a lightweight transformer detects cues and shelf markers. 5. Grasp selection, a 6DoF pose estimator predicts candidate grasps with friction-aware scoring. 6. Planning, a sampling-based planner for course motion, then a trajectory optimizer with collision constraints. 7. Control, impedance control to tolerate contact. 8. Safety, a runtime geofence and speed scaling monitor triggered by human proximity.
In the field, we also cache just-in-time priors, recently successful grasps on the same SKU, last known free aisle route, so the agent starts from experience. That's where the memory module pays off with 10 to 20% faster task completion.
Layer PHRAG on top. When the robot sees an unexpected shelf configuration, it retrieves policy snippets, safety rules, layout exceptions from the knowledge store, the LLM explains. This bay is flagged for high-value items, reduce speed and require visual confirmation, then logs the rationale in natural language for the supervisor.
Business leaders ask, what's the tangible impact? Give us a rigorous case.
In replenishment pilots, blending a vertical AI agent for inventory prediction with physical AI agents for execution produced 25 to 35% cycle time reduction on restocking tasks over 2 quarters, picking errors down by double digits, and a measurable uplift in on-time order fulfillment. The kicker was resilience. During demand spikes, the system maintained throughput with fewer quality regressions.
And the operational nuance was crucial. We didn't chase full autonomy day one. We used shared autonomy with human-in-the-loop validation on the last 10% of edge cases, which cut rollout risk and kept labor engaged.
Governance-wise, we enforced reversible actions. Every physical operation had a safe abort and a trace in the memory module. Post-shift audits sampled 5 to 10% of actions to verify adherence to procedures and recalibrate prompts where drift emerged.
Let's pivot to the pipeline integrity example. What's distinctive about PHRAG there?
The agent collects multimodal evidence, thermal anomalies, acoustic signatures, visual corrosion cues, runs local anomaly prioritization via a small embedded LLM, then sends structured findings to an external domain LLM. That model cross-references inspection standards, environmental constraints, and maintenance history, producing a graded risk report and recommended interventions.
Technically, leak detection fuses vibration spectra with thermal gradients. Think spectral clustering with learned embeddings to separate pump noise from microleaks. A Bayesian filter maintains belief over defect progression, while the path planner chooses inspection waypoints that maximize expected information gain, not just coverage.
Business impact showed up as earlier detection. False positives fell by 20 to 30% after tuning, inspection coverage increased materially across remote spans, and time to resolution shortened because reports were automatically aligned to compliance templates.
And critically, the agent's memory preserved chain of evidence. Sensor snapshots, model version, prompt context, and actuator commands. When regulators asked, "Why did you escalate this segment?" the explanation was not hand-wavy.
We've all heard the claim that LLMs will plan robot behavior. Is that really the best practice today? Not directly. Freeform language isn't a control policy. The pragmatic design is hierarchical. The LLM produces a task plan and tool calls: navigate zone 3, inspect weld 17, verify thermal. Then dedicated planners handle kinematics and dynamics. The LLM also does exception handling and hypothesis generation.
Exactly. And for on-device efficiency, we compress the language stack, quantize to 4 8 bits, distill to a domain-lean head, and route through a mixture of experts that activates only the sub-skills needed. Typical motion latency budgets demand sub-50 millisecond control loops, so the LLM sits out of the inner loop.
Plus, we cap token windows on the edge model and keep rich history in a compact episodic memory, key value summaries with embeddings, so retrieval is ov log n, and we don't clog the bus.
Contrarian time. What's the non-obvious insight the market is missing?
Everyone's chasing intelligence, but the systemic bottleneck is trustable degradation. We need graceful fallbacks under sensor occlusion, partial comms, or mechanical wear. Without a tiered autonomy stack, policy A to B to manual, the mean time to safe state balloons, and operations managers quietly throttle usage.
I agree, and I'll push further. Over-investing in perception while under-investing in calibration is a silent failure mode. A 2-3 mm miscalibration sinks your grasp success more than another point of MAP. Online self-calibration, hand-eye, and extrinsic updates should be first class.
From a portfolio lens, those boring investments pay compound interest. Programs that prioritized calibration, safety monitors, and operator UX reached scale months earlier and sustained double-digit OEE gains versus flashier pilots that stalled.
Let's get specific on safety mechanisms. What's in a robust runtime safety stack?
4 layers. 1. Constraint-aware planning, keep-out zones, force velocity limits, tool interlocks. 2. Independent monitors, a separate compute thread estimating time to collision with conservative models. 3. Formal checks for high-risk ops, preconditions verified against a typed policy graph. 4. Human signals, vision-based PPE detection and intent cues, and each incident triggers counterfactual replays in simulation to refine guardrails.
And we use shielded controllers. Optimization with a safety projection step that ensures control outputs stay in a certified safe set. If the planner proposes something risky, the shield vetoes it within milliseconds.
The LLM helps with explainability, mapping controller projected torque below safe envelope due to unexpected contact into operator language, so incidents turn into teachable feedback, not mysteries.
The simulation to reality gap is notorious. How are teams closing it, especially with embodied agents? 3 practices. 1. Domain randomization, texture, lighting, friction, sensor noise, for both perception and dynamics. 2. System identification. Collect data to fit contact and actuator models, then refine in SIM. 3. Curriculum learning. Train policies from gross motion to fine manipulation. Plus, synthetic data generators label 3D assets with materials and physics so the cognitive models learn affordances, not just pixels.
We mirrored that in deployment. Start with low-stakes tasks, then graduate to tighter tolerances as confidence and telemetry improve. By week 6, we saw a steadier grasp success curve because the model had seen enough real edge cases to override the SIM bias.
Strategically, the digital twin became the forum for change management. Industrial engineers, safety officers, and finance reviewed proposed process tweaks in a simulated run. Sign-offs were faster, and the debates were evidence-based.
Let's unpack multi-agent coordination. How do fleets manage tasks without gridlock? Auction-based allocation is robust. Each robot bids on tasks using cost models, travel time, battery, congestion risk. A coordinator clears auctions every few seconds. To avoid oscillations, we add commitment penalties and short-term task locks. For traffic, we use priority lanes and time-expanded graphs, and a simple yield-to-human rule overrides everything.
In practice, congestion is the killer. We sliced zones into heartbeat-controlled cells. Only N agents allowed in, with token admission. It's primitive, but it cut aisle standoffs drastically and improved fleet throughput by a meaningful margin.
The LLM's role is meta-coordination. It surfaces conflicts, 2 agents routed to the same narrow bay, reasons about policies, and proposes a replan with rationale so supervisors can approve or tweak.
On the LLM side, how do you design retrieval for physical context? What's different from classic RAG?
PHRAG prioritizes physical salience and recency. We index observations with spatial temporal keys, place, time, object state, alongside domain docs. When the agent queries, we fuse top K retrieval by both semantic similarity and physical proximity. We also attach uncertainty estimates so the LLM can hedge, confidence low, request secondary measurement.
And we filter retrieval through role-based policies. A maintenance agent can fetch repair procedures, but not sensitive inventory data. Tool use is auditable. Each API or vector query is logged with a purpose string.
The audit trail matters. When a decision causes a halt, we reconstruct the chain, sensor frames, retrieval set, prompt, LLM output, planner inputs, so we can correct the weak link, not just patch the surface symptom.
Emerging markets. Different constraints, different opportunities. What changes in design?
Power and connectivity are flaky. We build offline-first stacks, on-device models, batch telemetry, and SMS-level alerts as a fallback. Hardware has to be serviceable with basic tools and cheap parts. We prefer 2D cameras with clever lighting over costly 3D sensors.
From a strategy angle, the opportunity is leapfrogging. Facilities without legacy automation can adopt modular agents and jump to hybrid autonomy. We've seen throughput gains even with simpler mechanics when paired with smart cognition.
But be careful. Safety culture and regulation vary. We implement visual, language, and icon-based UIs to match operator literacy, and we tailor safety envelopes wider until local teams are trained. Capability grows with trust.
Language models, fine-tuned for local languages, are essential. Even short task explanations in the operator's dialect reduced intervention time. On-device quantized models make that feasible on lower-end compute.
Let's talk productization. What should CTOs and COOs evaluate when choosing a platform?
3 filters. 1. Modularity. Can you swap perception models or grippers without rewiring the stack? 2. OpEx visibility, telemetry, energy, maintenance forecasts. 3. Ecosystem stability. Avoid lock-in to one vendor's SDK if you can't export your memory and policies.
Technically, insist on standardized message buses and tool APIs, low-latency shared memory for control, and containerized deployment so you can pin versions per work cell. Simulation parity is non-negotiable.
For governance, require lifecycle logs, incident taxonomy, and model provenance. Make reproducible replay a contract term, no black boxes.
And ergonomics. Battery hot swap. quick-release end effectors, and clear fault codes. Your tech only matters if a shift lead can recover in 5 minutes.
Where are the current limitations? What still bites? Dexterous manipulation with deformable objects remains brittle. Tactile sensing is underutilized, and contact-rich policies don't generalize as well as we'd like. Also, multi-agent planning under heavy congestion can still deadlock without conservative heuristics.
LLMs hallucinate under sparse context. We mitigate via retrieval discipline and tool grounding, but edge models still need better uncertainty awareness. And yes, we sometimes prefer templated planners for safety-critical routines.
Certification and safety cases lag. Proving acceptable risk in dynamic environments is hard. We need more shared benchmarks, incident reporting, and model cards that include failure envelopes, not just accuracy.
And the business gap. Many teams underestimate process redesign. Dropping agents into a bad layout won't fix bottlenecks. The biggest wins followed a co-design of flow plus agent capabilities.
Give us a crisp migration path, a 90-day blueprint to get started responsibly.
Day 15, map workflows, instrument with passive sensors, baseline cycle times and error rates. Day 16 to 30, stand up the digital twin, integrate the domain LLM with your SOPs via retrieval. Day 31 to 60, deploy a single physical AI agent in shadow mode, then shared autonomy on one narrow task. Day 61 to 90, expand to a second task, add runtime safety monitors, and formalize incident review. Track 3 KPIs, task success rate, intervention frequency, and time to safe state.
Parallel track, set up CI for models, sim-to-real tests with domain randomization, and automated calibration checks. Enforce version pinning and rollbacks. It's robot ops, not just ML ops.
Governance track. Define authorized actions, human override procedures, and audit sampling. Codify stop rules and rehearse them with the floor team.
And communicate ROI in operational terms. Cycle time deltas, quality uplift, safety incident reduction so the program earns trust and budget for the next phase.
Quick lightning round. What's a favorite heuristic you rely on? Latency is a feature. If your loop can't meet timing, redesign the architecture before adding intelligence.
Ground words in world, no retrieval, no action. Always tie language to sensors and tools.
Assume failure, practice recovery, design for the graceful exit.
Make the happy path obvious and the wrong path impossible. Fixtures, lighting, and labels beat clever code more often than not.
What gets measured gets managed, but measure the few things that move the system.
Before we close, what near-term innovations excite you most?
Multimodal LLMs that natively attend to proprioception, force, and vision. Less prompt glue, more unified reasoning.
Generative simulation that auto-annotates physics and materials, giving us richer pre-training and better sim-to-real transfer.
Safety shields with verified invariants baked into controllers, formal methods meeting real-time control.
Fleet-level coordination that blends auctions with learned congestion pricing. Agents negotiate space like traffic with manners.
Cross-functional dashboards where operators, safety, and finance see the same story, reducing the friction that kills scale.
Final takeaways for business and technology leaders.
Treat physical AI agents as operating system upgrades for your facilities. Start narrow, instrument everything, and align incentives around flow, not just automation.
Architect for timing, safety, and swappability. Hierarchies win. LLM for tasks, planners for geometry, controllers for physics.
Use PHRAG to bind physical context to domain knowledge. Explanations are not nice to have. They're the lubricant for adoption.
Invest early in governance, audit trails, incident drills, and clear stop rules, so scale isn't gated by fear.
Co-design the floor with your agents. A well-placed marker or a redesigned bin can deliver the cleanest 20% of your gains.
That's a wrap. Embodiment is where AI meets accountability, and with physical AI agents plus RAG, the path from insight to impact gets a lot shorter. Thanks to our panel and to you for listening. Quick wrap-up before we close. Today we traced the end-to-end loop, from vertical brains to physical bodies, anchored in a three-block architecture: perception, cognition, actuation, stitched together by RAG so actions are informed by physical context and explained in the language of the business. We stressed hierarchical control: LLM for tasks and exceptions, planners for geometry, controllers for physics, runtime safety shields, sim-to-real rigor, and multi-agent coordination, all pointed at measurable outcomes.
Technically, the through line is timing and grounding, multi-sensor sync, visual inertial state estimation, TSDF topological mapping, SKU detection, and 6D-off grasp synthesis, sampling plus optimization planning, impedance control, with a safety projection layer that guarantees control outputs stay in a certified safe set. Keep the LLM out of inner loops, compress it for on-device reasoning, and backstop decisions with uncertainty routing. Then close the sim-to-real gap via domain randomization, system ID, and curriculum learning.
From the business lens, the pattern delivered real results. Hybrid inventory systems cut replenishment cycle times by roughly a third while improving accuracy, and PHRAG and pipeline monitoring reduced false positives and sped interventions. The programs that scaled invested early in calibration, governance, and operator UX, used digital twins for change management, and followed a 90-day roadmap: baseline, simulate, shadow, then shared autonomy, reporting progress in operational terms that matter on the P&L without chasing vanity metrics.
Safety and trust were not add-ons but load-bearing beams. 4 layers: constraint-aware planning, independent monitors, formal pre-checks on high-risk ops, and human-centric signaling, paired with incident drills, reproducible replays, and policy graphs. The contrarian insight stands, designed for trustable degradation so the system degrades gracefully when sensors, comms, or mechanics falter. Otherwise, adoption quietly stalls.
The key innovation is PHRAG's retrieval shaped by the world, spatial temporal keys, proximity-weighted recall, and uncertainty-aware prompts that let the LLM hedge, request more evidence, or invoke a tool. Role-based access and full chain-of-thought auditability turn explanations into assets. Multilingual on-device models make those explanations immediate for frontline teams.
On the floor, success looked practical. Start narrow, lean on shared autonomy, run a tight calibration regimen, and design the environment so the happy path is obvious. Tokens for congestion control, offline first stacks in tough connectivity zones, and ergonomic hardware, hot swaps, quick-release end effectors, kept uptime high and recovery simple. Fixtures and labels often beat clever code.
Highlights worth carrying back to your teams. Embodiment turns intelligence into throughput. Hierarchies tame latency and risk. Safety shields and audit trails unlock scale. Digital twins align stakeholders. And multi-agent markets keep fleets moving. Remember the old line: plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. And here planning means instrumented, explainable, and reversible by design. Looking ahead, we're bullish on 3 fronts: multimodal LLMs that attend to force and vision natively, generative simulation that labels physics for richer pre-training, and safety shields with verified invariants baked into controllers. Pair those with operator-centric dashboards, and you've got an adoption flywheel. End-to-end summary in one breath. Sense the world reliably, reason with domain context via HRAG, act with shielded precision, and explain every decision in the operator's language. Do that in a modular, auditable way, and you'll convert AI from a pilot to a production advantage. Thanks for joining us on AI, and we'll see you next time where bits keep learning to move atoms.